Hey guys, welcome to the Silver Report. Here we are, it's Monday, March 13th, 2017. We have some major economic turbulence to be looking for this week because there's some major moves taking place. And I wanted to just point out, for every $1 in growth, an additional $4 in debt is taken on. And apparently this is a strong economy. You know, when you're in high school, they teach you 1 minus 4 is -3. And so what we're really facing, and it's not just a single country's problem. America in particular is massive. But globally, when you take the global debt, according to the International Monetary Fund, global debt has grown to a staggering grand total of $152 trillion. Other estimates put that figure closer to $200 trillion. And so what we're seeing, if you take $152 trillion divided by the 7 billion people living on the planet, that's 21,714, which would be the share of that debt for every man, woman, and child in the world if it was divided equally. And now some countries, they're making $2 a day, live on $2 a day. Of course, the global debt repayment will never actually be apportioned by family. The reason that I even bring it up, we're living during the greatest debt bubble in the history of the world. Our financial engineers, they got to keep figuring out ways to keep it growing much faster than the global GDP, because if it ever stops growing, it will burst and destroy the entire global financial system. And now, one thing to point out, this week they made a very important announcement that they're now going to be removing civil findings from credit scores around the country. It's going to be raising the credit scores of almost everyone in the country. They're going to remove defaults. They're going to remove civil actions. They're going to remove bills that went to collections. Because what they're finding is, especially in the wake of the 2008 crisis, because there was almost no family that was untouched by this massive collapse, that they don't have enough people borrowing. And if this credit bubble, as we just relayed, is going to burst if it ever stops. Another thing that we're seeing, we have only a couple days before they have this debt ceiling lock in. Now, the government has been very busy. They had $384 billion. Now they're down to only $34 billion. They've been busy spending all free cash, waiting for this debt ceiling. So that when it comes, they have no choice but to raise it, but to increase it. Because they have no free cash on hand. They have less cash than a lot of companies have to operate with. Now, for example, also another thing that is taking place, Tokyo, in Japan, they're launching audits of regional banks. And they've been saddled with significant paper losses from shipping from Japanese government bonds to high-yielding foreign debt and complex instruments. The Financial Services Agency will first conduct on-site inspections of asset management divisions in around 3 regional banking groups, widening the probe if it's needed. The targets will be banks that are owning large portions of foreign bonds. And we have seen that Japan recently, as a government, has been bleeding foreign bonds, have been departing from U.S. debt. And now they're preventing their commercial banks, their commercial lenders, from having foreign debt, foreign bonds, from holding these, because they want to limit the exposure to what is taking place in the United States. And one of the reasons that people are having trouble accepting the trouble in the economy that we're in right now, number one, with record high stock prices, and it's record high levels of household net worth, they're not figuring in the fact that we have record levels of devalued currency, that it's worth the less now. It seems utterly inconsistent to claim those facts against a U.S. economic depression. Weakness might be more easily believed as some overseas problems, leading to only ideas of decoupling or the U.S. as a clean, dirty shirt. The U.S. economy has problems, but how bad can they be, right? Yet, despite the asset price levels and even record debt, all those prove is just how disconnected those places have become from what used to be an efficient way to redistribute financial resources. According to the Fed's Z1 report, household net worth, it climbed. And they've been touting it in the news. And what we've also seen is that there's been this massive credit bubble forming. We've seen the highest levels of credit, even higher than 2008, on personal loans, personal credit cards. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why you see Visa rallying at the top of the stock market rally here. And so these major moves to be able to increase the ability for people to get credit, it falls down to the fact that we have this massive credit bubble that they have to continuously inflate, or else it's going to cause such dramatic pain. The minimal amount of overall deleveraging after the Great Recession has achieved a similarly minimal amount of financial rebalancing debt to economy. Total credit levels have remained historically out of bonds with the capacity to support them. And what we're seeing is very dangerous for the U.S. economy because people are not conceptualizing this debt. The fact that our government has spent all the free excess money that it has, all the cash that it has on hand, and we're fastly approaching 2 more days till this debt ceiling locks in at $21 trillion, at which point they have no free cash to spend in the government. And unless this is changed or altered, everything stops and chaos ensues. It's maybe why some of these foreign governments have been in a rush to get into gold and out of the US dollar. They see this is unmanageable. They see that when the time that government bonds were invented in the 1800s for the Dutch economy, that it was a matter of time before half of the Dutch economy was wiped out of the people's personal debt. They were in a rush to go and put their money into government bonds. And it was only a matter of time before their debt was 68% of their GDP and they no longer could service the debt, and then they defaulted, wiping away the wealth of millions. And that's what we're facing in this country. And that's what this channel is all about. It's about preparing. All right, thank you guys for joining me here on the Silver Report. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe, like the videos, share the videos. We have to get the word out. I thank you guys all so much for stopping by. As always, stay safe.